What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about how to deal with paranoia and anxiety when you're in school, online because of quarantine, or once you return to real life after quarantine. What do you do? How do you deal with this? This question actually came from a email subscriber of mine, and his name's Dominic, and he says he gets kind of a little bit paranoid and anxious, and that's very normal. So, first and foremost, the goal here, of course, is to get better grades, get maybe even straight A's, so that your parents can be happy, you can be happy, and I'm assuming so that you can get into a better school and maybe get a good job one day, make money, be happy. So, first and foremost, I think you have to accept that it's natural and normal to be somewhat anxious or paranoid. You ever heard of the book Only the Paranoid Survive? It's a business book for business, but you need a little bit of paranoia. Otherwise, if you're too calm all the time and complacent, then that's when you get slapped in the face or surprised because you think you're doing well and then you get surprised because you're not doing as well as you think. However, and this is the mistake that I learned from, being too paranoid and too anxious all the time is not good for you. Your stress levels, your health levels, they go through the roof and then you start to crumble. And so, there's only a certain amount of anxiety that you should allow into your system. And I think to a degree, you kind of play into it or let it control you. So there's a certain level of control to it, even if you think that, oh, all this anxiety, I can't control it at all. I think when I look back, there's definitely moments where I wasn't sure if anxiety was good or not because I didn't have anyone guiding me like in this YouTube video. So I just assumed it was good, so I fed off it. And, I would start to exaggerate it. Like every little thing I did wrong, if I forgot to turn in homework today or I got docked a few more points on this homework assignment than I wanted, I would freak out much more than I needed to. And I think I probably modeled my parents a bit because that's what they would do. But now looking back and when you study, successful people, straight A students, you have to have a certain level of control and mastery and calm in your mind. Anxiety and worry are only helpful if they change your future. Anything beyond that is really just damaging to your health, how you feel. I mean, you just feel terrible, and it sometimes can ruin your performance. So, whether nowadays when I get anxious, whether it's for anything, including you know doing something at the gym. I'm doing some weightlifting nowadays, so I'll do like a clean and a jerk, um, or I need to get a project done. I ask myself, okay, I'm anxious. I feel that. I sense that. That's not something I can control. That naturally triggered. Is this helpful to me? And usually for me, since I'm a high anxious personality type, your personality type might be different, but I assume, Dominic, that it's similar based off how you asked the question. I ask myself, is this useful? And the answer is usually some of it, a little bit of it, yes. But more than that, no, it's not useful. It just isn't. And it just comes down to how are you going to use this to fuel yourself? Some of it, okay, it will push me so I don't screw up in the future. So I make sure to get those assignments in. But then, there are times when, and there'll be signs to tell you, and ideally you want to prevent them rather than get to them and then realize. That's when you tone it down. When you're feeling massive anxiety or paranoia and you can't sleep or you just don't feel good all the time, you don't feel happy, that's not good. And just to be frankly honest, you have to ask yourself from a rational standpoint, does it even matter? Here's the thing, a lot of people who end up becoming the wealthiest CEOs and executives, they're they didn't get straight A's in school. They got B's. Some of them got C's. There's even books about this. Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book called Why B students end up, or what's it called? Why A students end up working for B students. And in the book Rewind by Jason Fried, he quotes how um, if you look at the top Fortune 500 executives, more of them went to state universities than Ivy League universities. So when you consider all this, and you realize the end result, like why am I freaking out, and you keep asking yourself why, you break it down to, oh, I'm freaking out because I'll get bad grades, which will make me go to a bad school or make me not make a lot of money, or get a good job in the future. And you get to that point, but then you look at the facts and it just destroys that model, and you realize, wow, maybe these grades aren't really the pivot point that a lot of people assume they are. Yes, they get you far, no doubt, but how far? And then you realize, okay, getting a B or C or a little bit better or worse, is it really worth destroying your mind over? Now, this is for the highly neurotic people. I think there's others who are way too calm, but usually those type of people aren't looking at these videos online. They're not worrying about school at all until it's too late and they get their report card. So just keep that in mind. For me, I ask myself that question, and I know most of the time a lot of that anxiety is useless. I remember flipping out on stupid stuff, like, and I regret it sometimes. I flipped out and got angry at one of my classmates because I was under so much pressure. I was practicing piano on a competitive level. At the same time, I had to do boatloads of advanced placement studying and work and homework. And then we had a school project, and I had to meet with him and a bunch of other people. And we spent a few hours trying to like piece together this project. And I flipped out at him because he wanted more time. And I was like, this is good enough, and I have so much other stuff to do. Looking back, and I wasn't in as much emotional control as I am now, and that's taken me many years. And you could technically shortcut the process by knowing some of the stuff I did at an earlier age, but that's another video. Long story short, I realized I could have just toned that down. I didn't need to flip out. I treated it like life and death, when in reality, it wasn't. Like, it really doesn't matter. Frankly, a lot of job employers don't even look at your grades anymore. They look at your skill set, your experience, and if you can do the job that they want done in an exceptional way. So, long story short, take a rational point to flipping out, and then there's plenty of ways of calming down and relaxing yourself and being less tense. Shortly after I film this and post this, in the next week or two, it may even be released by the time you see this, I will have released a blog post on my blog, willyoulaugh.com, and it's our article and podcast on relaxation techniques, and I go over about 7 techniques for de-stressing, reducing anxiety, and feeling great. And I have science to back it up and all sorts of good stuff. So check that out, and hopefully this helped.